Hey guys, Steve here, Smack Reel and Camp, and today we're going to go from this to this. So obviously I have a lot of stuff in here. So what I'm going to be doing is going through everything that's inside of here and transitioning to everything that is going back in there. A lot of things that I use on both of them, especially my screens for my live scope and also on my snowmobile up here for my maps and my ice deucer. All of those can be transferred over to use it on that. So one of the things that I used on both is my screen up here that I have on my snowmobile. This has my ice deucer up inside of here, and also I use the map packs on this as well too. So I use that on my kayak as well too. So every year I just switch over back and forth. I also switch over from my Summit Fishing ice deucer for my live scope over to the Railblazer that mounts on the side of my kayak. First pull. I also use the same battery, 100 amp hour lithium, in my kayak as well too, for my 8-calorie diesel heater. Excuse the mouse, but transition this over, I just undo it from the back of here and don't lose any of your hardware. And take the ice deucer part of it and then I just transition it back over to this one. So there's two different screws for this. There's the one that came out of this one and then the one that came out of the ice deucer. But you do need this rubber washer right here because that's how they go around, and it's not so tight, so you have room to be able to turn it back and forth. You just can't lose this one because that one goes with this one. So what we do, take that, and that. This one goes back on the ice juicer, which that will eventually go up inside of there. There's no screw for it, so what I do is I keep it in a bag with my transducer. And then setting that off to the side, I come back in here. Now, there is a little piece that's right here that you have to line up inside. So I put that in there. I line the washers up this way. Put the rubber one on there. Line this back up. And screw this back down in there. So you don't want to over tighten that because you still want to be able to have this move back and forth. And then I just zip tie these back. Then you just want this to be able, when you open it, that it comes through there. This is the Railblazer unit. But you don't really need to have that rubber washer down inside of there. I just like it because it turns on this access right here. It doesn't really turn on that one. So you can just kind of tighten it up, leave it in there. I just like to have that rubber washer in there. And now everything's all set up to put on the kayak. Protect your gear. So I keep this covered every year when I bring in my kayak for the winter time, and then I have room over here for my snowmobile trailer. Kind of a wacky setup, but basically opening it up. So this ram mount that I have right here, I actually take one of these off right here and I take it over to the handlebar on my snowmobile, and that's where I hook it up into that. And then I have little piece here so it'll pinch it a little bit more and stick on my handlebar, and that's how I keep everything up there. But every year I take it off of here because this is where my fish finders go. One on that side. And one on that side. One of the other things that I do as well too is I always, every year, have a pile of stuff that's sitting in here. And usually a little bit of some debris like leaves and whatever else blew up underneath there. So I just kind of clean that out a little bit, blow it out if I need to. Sometimes I'll rinse it. So once I clean it all out and everything, a lot of times I'll go through with this stuff right here, which is 303. This stuff is awesome. I use this on my kayak. I even use it in my car sometimes as well too. Stuff on the snowmobile. But this stuff, really, really good. So you guys should get some of this. I'm not a sponsor of it or anything. I would be doing it right now, but it's kind of cold out. Can't really tell by what I'm wearing, but it is still kind of cold out, so I haven't really turned on my hoses or anything else like that. But when I do clean it, I use this stuff right here, 303. Probably the best stuff you could ever use on your kayak. Another thing that I do as well is I go through and I just make sure that all of my cords aren't all rusted up and everything, that they don't have a bunch of debris all over them. And going through the ends, checking for debris, checking for rust. All my clips and everything to make sure there just isn't any, battery corrosion on it or anything like that. I check all those. I check down inside of here just to make sure my connections are really, really good. I install the 360 and the live scope. I check all the connections with those as well too. I'm not on the water, so I can't really dunk these in, but you can just take a bucket and just kind of dunk them in, just get the sensors wet that are down inside of there, and you can check all your maps and all your stuff on your live scope and your 360 through your screens. But I'm not that smart, so I just usually go onto the water and mess with that out there because it's usually set pretty good. But if you're going from ice fishing and using your stuff on your snowmobile or inside your shanty to springtime using it on your kayak, you're going to be set up in ice mode inside of here when you're using that stuff, so you just have to switch it back. Just some helpful things to help you guys out. I also go through and make sure that my batteries are charged. So underneath here, I have the NoCo Genius. It's a Gen 5 X3. So basically I can charge 3 batteries. There's one down inside of there. That one actually runs my lights and my puck up in the front here for the GPS spot. And I also have in there are 2 Tracker Lithium 18 amp hour batteries, and those run my electronics. The other thing is going in and connecting all my batteries to making sure that the battery that I'm putting down inside of there is put back in there properly. I actually have a couple pieces down inside of here that kind of help it stay in place so it doesn't bounce around when I'm in travel. But I just got to hook everything all back up. This is actually for my charging system, and then it gives me the readout in the front right here. This tells me the power wattage and the amp hours and how much battery time I have left, how much it's using. But that's all from Amped Outdoors. That's the battery I have. But I'm going to be putting that inside. That's better. So I just make sure that my cords are all nice and neat down inside of here. Attach the negative line on here. And then I got two positives. One is actually for the battery sensor. And the other one is the main positive, which that one's kind of the pain in the butt one. Once you get them in there, kind of sucks the top down. And I just tighten everything up. Oh, you guys probably noticed that as well. I didn't put my charging unit on. So they didn't make this one long enough. It is zip tied up in the top. That's where this zip tie is right here. It's just kind of short in there. Makes a little bit of a pain in the butt. Just don't lose your washers. And then everything gets all tucked back up in here again. You want to tighten these, but you don't want to over tighten them. And then what I do is I just kind of leave this sitting there like that. And when I need to charge my battery, I just pull this out right here and plug it into my charger. And then everything else is all tucked up underneath there really nicely. And I can put my battery box back together again. Everything's all put back together. So this battery right here runs the trolling motor only. It's the only thing I have hooked up to that. The other thing that my other battery is this right here. So this runs my lights. So I have internal red lights, the green externals. I also have headlights on here, coming in at night. Got to be able to see. And that one's not plugged in, so I'll have to make sure that that one is fixed, and that's some of the things that I go through. And there it goes right there. We go. And that's on the back. And then I also have these lights here. This is actually on a pole as well. And turn those on, have them blink. All that's from Railblaza. There's actually a pole that goes on that so you can have your light up a little bit higher. And then up in the front, I check to make sure that these lights work. And that they're in there correctly. So that battery charger that's down there charges all of my batteries, except for this one here. This one has its own separate charger, but the NoCo Genius, that comes in a bunch of different types and however many batteries you want for an onboard charging system. And then all you have to do is plug it into here. This is sold separately. So I stick that down inside of there. It's already drilled through, and all I have to do is plug it in, and then it's got a waterproof cap that's on it. So when I'm done with the day, I come in, I plug my charger up into here. That runs my charger for there. And then I plug this in right here, and all the rest of my batteries charge up. The one that's down inside of there, and the two that are up in front. So another thing that I do is I actually go through the kayak itself and just kind of make sure that everything is just in there that I want. So I got little floaters in here, I got extra cords. This helped me out a lot. It's just a small little screwdriver, so I'm actually able to get down inside of my remote and change the batteries. But actually had to buy a new remote. So this one's gonna end up getting replaced, but I keep extra batteries down here. These are the doggles that I put down to charge up my cameras. That's actually down inside of here. So all my camera cords, when I do my recording, is all plugged into there. And it's a 3-port, and then it just runs up through, and that's where I plug in my cameras. And then I have another one that's running back here on my pole. And then this one, it's tied down right now, but this one actually comes up and I mount my cameras on there. That's from Yak Attack. Mounts right down inside of here, and then I can adjust it, have it standing straight up or out to the side or wherever I want to put it. But I normally put my 360 camera on this one. So I just put everything all back inside of here, but I do have to replace this. I do have another one that's actually in the house that I've already gotten. I just have to put the batteries in it and set it down inside of here, and then when I turn the trolling motor on, it'll basically sync itself up. I also have lights on my trailer that are right here, and right on the back as well here too. That's for when I'm going down into some of the dark boat launches and I can't see a thing. So those are very, very helpful. And I just have those mounted up into the front right here. And I'll be able to turn either the front ones on or the back ones on. But those run off the battery of my car, so when I plug in my trailer, I'm able to use those lights in the back. I also go through my box in the back, just make sure everything hasn't leaked or anything else like that. This stuff's usually pretty good over the winter. I don't really have any issues with it. You should kind of take your, you know, your scents and stuff like that out. Those will freeze, but I don't have too much inside of here, so I'm not too worried about it. But I just check down inside of here just to make sure everything's good. This one here just has a bunch of, you know, like a table I can set up, a couple more scents. I don't really use the scents that much, but they were given to me. I have my rain gear up inside of here, an extra change of clothes, I also have a first aid kit that's down inside of there that keeps just the basics in here. It's just a first aid kit that I bought. Bandages, tablets, ointments. You do have to go through to make sure that the medicines are good that are still in there. Don't want to leave those too long. There's ponchos, there's wipes, a pair of scissors, you know, just a basic in case you get hurt out there or anything else, or you need to help someone else. I also keep another pair of bibs down inside of there for some of those cold times. And I have a couple other things in there, longer things. Some bottom bouncers, some walleye jigs and rigs and stuff like that that I can't really keep in another box. But I have a bag that goes in the back. I'm sure you guys have seen that in some of my other videos. And that's where I keep all of my lures and all my gear in. And yes, I'm glad that fell out. Extra prop. All of that sits down inside of there. And just making sure those are tight so it doesn't pop up as you're driving, because I actually leave this on here. It's actually all strapped down. You can see the yellow straps that are right down there. That's strapped to the kayak. And then my bungee cords go through here as well too. That's strapped to the box. So the box stays in there when I travel. I also have an umbrella that's up underneath here if I ever need to get out of the sun, or if it's really pouring down rain, it's a clip umbrella and I can clip that onto the back of my seat. My cooler, making sure there isn't any grossness down inside of there, which there is, so I have to clean that out. Some bags. I've got the 2.5-inch seat risers that are in the back here and up in the front. Very, very comfortable when you're sitting in this. It sits it up a little bit higher. So when you're getting up and sitting down, it's not so bad. And the kayak cushion, very good. I'm actually going to get the one that goes on the back here as well too. Let's make it a little bit more comfortable. But that just straps around the seat there. And when I'm in travel, I don't take my seat off. I just put a bungee cord down inside of here. And wrap it around the back of the seat. And that stops it from lifting up. So another thing that I do as well too is I just kind of go through and just make sure that my batteries are all good up inside of here. My grips are actually working, they're not all rusted up. These are actually plastic, which are really nice. This is the Cast King set that I got off of Amazon. All the links for this stuff is all down inside of my description. You guys can check all that stuff out for everything that I have on my kayak. I tried to put everything that I have on my kayak down in the description below, so you guys can check out that. And if you buy anything off of there, I get a little bit of a commission off of it. Not very much, but it's all there for you guys. I also have the Rhino straps that are down here. These things are awesome, makes it so much easier. You just toss them across there and they actually clip onto my ladder rack that I have down here. So this is actually a ladder rack that I have. There's the 4 points of it over there. I actually have it sitting over here. But that actually sits up on the top. And when I do camping and stuff like that, I put everything up on the top of that and stick that on the trailer. I can also put another kayak on the top of that as well too. So this is pretty much what I see when I'm riding down there. So once this is down, I got my live scope right here. My 360's down up into the front. I got my screens right up in front of me here. Everything else is behind. Camera mounts, multiple angle camera mounts, and my 360 that's on the back. But yeah, just because of how cold it is right now, I'm really not going to be going through and washing this up and cleaning it all up. I kind of did that before I actually put it away. I do that every year, but I use that 303 and I wash everything down. I rinse it all out, clean it all out, try to get all the fish guts and everything else out of it. But and then that's when I put it away, and then when I get it in the springtime, kind of blow it out a little bit, just make sure everything's all cleaned up. I still have my pile that's down there, so I still got to go through that. But just making sure that everything is all put together, everything is the way that you want it. And then a lot of times I'll open up my screens, switch those back over to regular sonar mode, and get everything all dialed back in with that from ice mode to this mode here. So when I get some time, I'll be able to put a bucket down inside of there, be able to dunk those in, open up my screens, and get those switched back over from ice mode to what I'm going to be using during the springtime. But that'll all be dialed in as well too. Probably going to be going out this weekend. Some of the guys wanted to go out to Lake Orion, so I think we're going to go check out that place this weekend. Hopefully that'll work if the weather's okay. It says it's supposed to be about 55 degrees and partly cloudy, but the water temps are still really, really low right now, so we're still only about 35, maybe 40 degree or so. But that's what we're going to try. So thank you guys all for hanging out with me. This is pretty much everything that I do when I do my transfer from my ice fishing setup to my kayak setup. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe down below. And like I said, all of the stuff that's on my kayak, I've listed down in the description. I do have an Amazon page you guys can go and check out as well too. See ya.
Ugh.
Hey guys, Steve here, Smack Reel and Cramp.